NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell responded to the lawsuit filed against the league by former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores, alleging racial discrimination, promising to reevaluate the NFL's diversity and inclusion policies. But Flores' legal team today calling that statement a public relations ploy and not real commitment to change. Here to help us break the situation down is employment attorney Angela Reddock-Wright. She's the founder and managing partner of the Reddock Law Group. Angela, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So let's start with the Rooney Rule. This is the NFL policy that says at least 2 non-white candidates must be considered for open coaching positions. What do Flores' comments seem to suggest about that rule and how it's actually being carried out in the league?
Well, I think Flores' comments and his lawsuit suggest that that rule, although ideal in nature and romanticized in nature, that it's not what's really happening on the ground. That even if individuals are being interviewed for head coaching positions or other positions, that oftentimes, which his lawsuit suggests, that the decision has already been made and that the interview is just something to check the box and suggest that these teams are complying with the Rooney Rule in spirit, but they aren't in actuality.
So what is the actual legal area there? Does the NFL, is there a legal standard where they have to be able to show that they're actually giving weight to these candidates?
Well, the Rooney Rule is really, it's a policy. It's not something that's written in law. So it's something where the NFL has said, this is something we would like to do in the spirit of what we would like to do. But I think Mr. Flores' lawsuit, what the basis of it will be is under our traditional analysis of race discrimination claims. And essentially what he'll have to show is that there was intent, that he was discriminated against compared to other non-Black coaches or individuals that are seeking head coaching jobs, that he was discriminated against on the basis of his race. And he will need to show that despite the Rooney Rule being in place, that really, as he suggested, was just a sham, or what we would call under the law a pretext for discriminatory action. And he has, for example, he indicated that he was scheduled to interview with the New York Giants, and he got a call or a text from someone that he formerly worked with, Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots, saying congratulations on the job. And it turned out that that was a different Brian that Mr. Belichick intended to text. So Mr. Flores will definitely use that to say, I hadn't even interviewed for the job, and they already selected someone who's not African American, that arguably is less experienced and has had less wins than I'd have had in this league. So his case is going to be based on a traditional claim of race discrimination and claiming that the Rooney Rule is just a sham and is really not real.
Now let's talk a little bit about the league's response. In Saturday's statement, Goodell said, quote, the league has done an unacceptable job in hiring more diverse head coaches. It's worth pointing out that right now there's only one Black head coach. That's Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And at the same time, the league is denying Flores' claims of racist hiring practice in court, saying that they're without merit. What is that line that the NFL is trying to toe here?
Well, the proof is in the pudding. It's one thing to make public statements. It's one thing to have a policy. But if you don't have evidence of a true commitment to that, i.e. in the numbers, with there only now being one Black head coach and one Latino head coach in the league, with 70% of the league's players being African American and there being no Black owners of teams, the evidence is shown through the numbers by themselves. So I appreciate Mr. Goodell's comments, and I'm sure many do. But what we have to remember about Mr. Goodell is that he reports to the 32 owners. He essentially works for the 32 owners of the NFL team. So those owners and those individual teams ultimately have to make a decision about what's important to them and being a part of helping to diversify the league. Mr. Goodell, I think, was sincere in his intent, but he has to use his power of persuasion and the power of his position to try to convince the the owners that it's time to diversify, it's time to be true to the Rooney Rule, and it's time to open the gates of who can access opportunities, not just player opportunities, but ownership and leadership opportunities within the NFL.
Right, and worth mentioning that right now the league only has 2 black general managers at the top of the game here. All right, Angela,
Exactly.
great points. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.